afternoon. Thank you. You may be seated. All glory and honor to God. I would like to thank Hillsong Church, that has been my church for 4 years now, for inviting me to speak. When I came here the first time, it was my birthday. The week before, it was my birthday. I had spent it with my son at the Crystal Towers. Then it was on a Saturday. Sunday morning, I look out through the window. I see scores and scores of people marching into church with determination that I've never seen before. I grew up in church all my life. I've never seen that spectacle before. Before that time, I had been for a year in hospital. Doctors had said I would never walk again. And I said to them, I pray to the living God. So the following Sunday, I told my son, come and have a look here. Can you believe that these people are walking into a church? Because where I have went to church before all my life, we drag our feet into church. We are often late. So when I came in, I said, I wonder if this is a cult. And then I said, okay. When I went in, I sat somewhere up there. The devil said, this music is too loud. And I said, hang on, devil. If they mention Jesus at least 3 times, I'm at the right place. And that Sunday, I think I counted up to 12 and I stopped counting. And then I said, oh, this looks like the right place. That was October. The following year, after Pastor Bobby Brown's annual message to the church, the week that followed, the minute I saw Pastor Phil in the new year, I think he had gone to leave or something like that. I went out through that door. I was on 2 crutches. My leg was heavy, and very painful. But today, somebody prayed for me many times. Actually, I was prayed for many times in Hillsong Church. Today, I don't use a crutch. I walk by myself. Then I saw a beautiful message. That placard that says, we love you, and the one that says, welcome home. You don't know what that is doing. I've got a friend that's a corporate leader in her own right. Her husband works for the presidency. Whenever I say to her, I love you, she says, not even her husband, says that she cries every time. And then she says, nobody ever says to me, I love you. I said, are you serious? You are married. So don't underestimate that message of the church where people come in and they say, we love you. I will be brief. I've already exhausted my 3 minutes bad habit from politics. Many people, let me start by what people know about me, what they have read in the media. They know that I exposed grand corruption, state capture. I've taken the president to court and ministers, many other things. And I remain in court. That I won the first round, I won the second round, we'll be into the 3rd round in October. And with God, I'm going to win that one too. Because if I had not won the first round, the public protector's state capture report would not have become public. But what people don't know is that I pray over these things every single time as I'm considering to do them. Before I went to court with the president the first time, there were about 40 plus odd people that were interviewed by the public protector. And when the president announced that he's going to challenge the report in court, I had hoped that the more than 30 people except myself will go and counter him in court. When nobody did, I prayed and said, God, this is not right. Give me the courage to do it. The following year, I WhatsApped somebody. By the end of the day, the best legal firm in the continent for 3 years in a row, now for the 4th year, Weber Wenzel, had agreed to represent me in court for free. And that is the resource that Mahlatse was speaking about. That when you avail yourself as a leader, when you humble yourself and you say, not for my glory, Lord, but for your glory, he will put resources before you. When Lawrence told me I would speak here, for a week I drew a blank. I said, what am I going to speak about? But then something said to me, Isaiah 65. And I did not even remember what Isaiah 65 is all about. And then I did not even touch the Bible to go to Isaiah 65 for 3 days. And when I went there, I found that verse 8 actually says, like, in a bunch of grapes, when you would have thought there is nothing, there is some good wine there. And then someone would say, don't discard the grape because we will get some wine out of it. God promises us that if we allow ourselves to become leaders that are God-fearing, that put God first. The last line of that verse says, then I will not destroy them all. Meaning, our nation would not be destroyed. It's a promise. If one single leader or 2 or 3 rise. But verse 8, verse 16 further says, verse 8 says servants, meaning those leaders. Then verse 16 says, those leaders, those servants, must ask the God of truth. And it also says, they must swear by the God of truth. And then verse 21 to 24 promises us once we become those servants, because leaders are actually servants. And that's what the Bible also teaches us. Then there are promises from 21 to 24. Promises for those leaders and promises for the nation that those leaders are planted in. Those 4 verses says, you would not build houses that you would not live in. That's a promise for a nation. You would not plant vineyards that you do not eat from. And then to those leaders, those servants, the other verse says, you will enjoy the fruits of your labor. And then the last verse says, then our nations will be blessed. It says, your children will not face any disaster. Now, we know the disaster that is facing our nation's children. Drugs, alcohol abuse, and all sorts of things. My son is also affected and suffering from that. And I have said repeatedly to God, if you don't deliver my son from drugs and alcohol, then please deliver somebody else's child. And I also say, deliver all other children, even if you don't deliver my own child. So that is what the Bible is calling us to do. And when we do so, that promise is the promise we know that God always keeps his promises. When I turned 35, I was at near-death situation, and I said, my daughter is 4, my son is 2. God, if you allow me to live, I will proclaim your name to nations of the world. And whether I'm addressing the Asia Pacific CEO Forum, I step right there. I know they follow Buddha and whoever, I proclaim my God amongst them. Whether I'm in Italy, in the capital of Catholicism, I step in there, go to their own chapel, and then proclaim God, because I have a promise to keep. I have a covenant with God. So we need leaders in the political space that know God, that lean on God, that are planted in the church, that have a covenant. And lastly, my teachings of my family were spiritual. So I hold the teachings of my family at heart. I hold the teachings of the Bible at heart. And every day, God puts wisdom into my heart. As a result, I don't just agitate people. I have reignited the civil society movement in this country. I have gone to court to challenge the government that I used to be part of. And every single step of the way, God has provided everything that I needed. And I think let us be that, so that at the end of the day, we shall sing in this manner. Not to us, but to your name, we raise all praises. Not to us, but to your name, we lift all praises. I think.